to another recap of Survivor Caramoan. Oh boy, was this a great episode. It was a double elimination. So let's begin. First, after last week's tribal council, Reynolds gets back to camp and he's like, yeah, I can win like the next 5 immunity challenges. I feel pretty confident I can do that. Well, that made Andrea upset. And Cochran, to himself or to the camera, says that he's pretty proud of himself because he's not the Harvard nerd that he was in his first go-round on Survivor. So he's come a long way. So no reward challenge this week. It's an immunity challenge, but there is a reward, and that is a scroll full of information to the winner. It's an endurance. It's the old floating doghouse pyramid. You have to keep going up higher onto the roof until you fall off. So it was pretty windy that day that they did it too, which means it probably shouldn't last a long time. Yeah, right. So Jeffy comes out with some food. He says, hey, you want some of my food? In order to, you know, will you quit in order to get the food? So first thing he comes out with is a giant plate of donuts and milk. And Eddie and Eric both decide that they're going to jump off and they're going to have that. Then 3 hot dogs and a soda. Well, Cochran can't pass that up, so he doesn't even think about it. He just jumps right off and goes for it. And then Reynolds, oh my God, he had some incredible saves. So many times it looked like he was going to fall off, but he recovered. It was pretty amazing. In fact, the final 3 on there were Reynolds, Brenda, and Andrea. But then the next one, Reynolds, he just couldn't handle it. He fell in the water. So it came down to Andrea and Brenda. These girls were freaking rock solid on there. The girls wouldn't make a deal. I don't think they really trusted each other at all. They were, like I said, they were rock solid. They lasted for over 3 hours, and then finally everybody was just like, you know, we're tired of sitting in the sun here. Could you freaking make a deal already? So they changed the rules. Nobody wanted to quit. That's what they said. I don't think they trusted each other. So they said, all right, we'll just do it on one foot. Put one leg up. So it didn't take long after they decided to do that. Brenda fell off and Andrea won. So Andrea had said that if Brenda had jumped off, she would have shared the clue with her, and she did. Reluctantly, I think. But actually, when she found out it was for the hidden immunity idol, she told the whole alliance, and they went looking for it, and Eric actually found it, but he gave it to Andrea. And Andrea is now thinking, well, I've got the hidden immunity idol. I think we should do a little blindside. I think Brenda, she's a pretty tough competitor. She's tough broad. I think she needs to go because she's, you know, she's a threat. So at Tribal, there's plenty of paranoia. That's what the probe sting revealed. And Jeff wants to know who's flipping. Not too much chit-chat at Tribal because it's a double episode this week. And after the vote, we find out that there was no blindside. They went with the original plan of taking out Reynolds. And there's only one amigo left. Sorry, Eddie. You're all alone. You're all by your lonesome. So back at camp, Andrea to Cochran says, I want to get rid of Brenda this week. Because now's the time to start making some big moves when people aren't suspecting them. So Cochran, being the good little Harvard nerd, goes to Brenda and says, hey, guess what? Andrea wants to get rid of you. I think the only reason he did that is because he just can't trust Andrea. I mean, who can? She's pretty flighty. So it's time for the old immunity challenge. Again, no reward challenge, right to the immunity challenge. And it's the old buoy on a string, obstacle course in the water, untie a key to get the pieces to build a ladder to raise a flag. That's right. Sherry was way behind. Eric had a pretty big lead. But Eric really sucked at building the ladder. So Andrea and Brenda pretty much caught up to him. And then he was really sucking building that ladder. But after a moment of clarity, he blazed through it. He made that ladder his bitch, and he won immunity. So, Andrea's still feeling pretty confident because she's got the hidden immunity idol. Says, I want Brenda gone. And she even tells Eddie that that's the plan, to vote for Brenda. Get rid of Brenda. Now Eric, he thinks he's in control. He's playing both sides. He's got the immunity idol around his neck, so, you know, I don't think he'd feel that way unless he had the immunity idol around his neck. And at Tribal, the probe sting reveals, is Eddie going home or someone else? Well, Cochran also reveals that everyone lies, and everyone pretty much admitted to it. So if you don't lie in Survivor, you're foolish. You just got to know how big a lie to tell and when to tell it. So it's time for the vote. And my favorite vote was Brenda when she said, sneaky, sneaky little girl, about Andrea. No idol was played. Andrea did not play the idol. And when the votes were starting to be read off, she was like, what? You guys. Yeah, she was pretty surprised. You know, the minute you feel comfortable in Survivor, that's the minute you start going home. Jeff starts going like this to your torch. So Andrea is voted off. And next time, that was a good blindside. Next time, is Cochran next? I hope not. Eric is wasting away to nothing. He was skinny to begin with, but now he's getting really skinny. He needs a good meal under his belt, or I don't think he's wearing a belt anymore. And visits from home. You know it's going to be a tearjerker. So until next week, much love.